Do I need an LLC? Do I need insurance? Do I need a contract? Where can I get a contract? Those are some of the most common questions I get, and those were some of the most difficult things for me to figure out when I first started this business. Now we're officially in our second full year of our party rental business. And along the way, we made a lot of mistakes and we learned a lot of things that I want to share with you in this video, just so you don't have to make the same mistakes and you don't have to have the same headache. Now, since this is not my first business, I kind of already had some of the answers, but for somebody that's just getting started out, let me help you out. Now, if I had to rank which one I should get first, whether it's an LLC, insurance, or a contract, I would say get your insurance first, get a contract, and then worry about your LLC. Now, quick disclaimer, I'm not an attorney and this is not legal advice. I'm just letting you know how I did it and where I had to go to find all these things. Now, when it comes to insurance, there's a couple important things that you absolutely have to have. You want to have general liability, you want to have commercial auto insurance, you want to have property insurance, and you want to make sure you have workers' comp. Now, here's why it's so important to have a solid contract. A solid contract will save. There's a lot of things that you want to put in your contract to make sure that everything goes smooth. So here are some of the most important things that you should put in your contract. You want to put the rental items. You want to put the rental item quantity. You want to make sure that you have a damage waiver in there so that if something gets broken or stolen, that the customer, you want to make sure that the customer knows that they're responsible for replacing items, repairing items. You also want to have a cancellation clause in there. You want to put in the contract that all of your rental items should only be used as intended. For instance, a chair shouldn't be stood on, right? A table shouldn't be danced on. If somebody dances on a table and falls, you can't be held liable, right? It's up to the customer to understand that these items have to be used in the proper manner. These are the things that you have to put in your contract to make sure that they can't hold you responsible or they can come back and sue you. Now, let's just say something happens to one of your items. Let's say it gets damaged or it gets stolen. This is when you come back to your contract and you tell the customer, hey, listen, you signed off on this. You said that you were going to give it back in the same condition that I gave it to you. You were going to make sure that it didn't get stolen. You were going to return it clean. That's what your contract is for. Now, with that contract, you can hold the customer liable for any repairs or replacements. Now, usually if something gets damaged and you let the customer know, hey, listen, you owe us X amount of dollars, they don't rebuttal much because you have that contract. And they know if something has to go to court, they'll lose because they signed off on that contract. They agreed to everything. And a lot of people don't want that headache, so they'll just pay. Now, if you're looking for a contract, I'm going to leave the link to the same one that we used in the description box below. So check that out. So one thing I'm going to strongly encourage you, don't do anything off paper. Have everything written down. I felt for one of the customers one time and she gave me a sob story and I felt bad for this lady. So I ended up giving her more items than what we had on the contract. She had originally ordered something, then she kind of went down on that order because she had, a bunch of stuff happen to her and her kids. So I felt bad. I gave her extra stuff for her kid's birthday party. It ended up getting stolen. Some of the items ended up getting stolen and I was completely liable because it wasn't on the contract. Big mistake. Don't ever do anything that is not written down. Make sure you have everything in an email, text messages, and everything should be signed off. Now, your contract is never going to be 100% solid. There's always things that you're going to tweak. When we first started off, I bought my contract online. I went to a party rental group on Facebook. There was a guy that was selling his contract template. I bought that, used that. A couple of months into the business, I ended up going to an attorney just to have him look over it. I want to say it cost me around $200, $250 to do that. But I just wanted to make sure that I'm complying with local laws. You got to understand that every state is a little bit different when it comes to these laws. So Florida is different from New York. New York is different from California. California is different from Vermont. You want to make sure that your contract abides by the rules of the state that you're in. Now, as far as an LLC, you don't really need an LLC when you're first starting off. It just kind of protects your assets. So let's say if you have a house, you have a car in your name, whatever property that you own, if somebody was to sue you because they got injured or something using your equipment, they can't come after your personal property. Now, when I first started off, I didn't have anything. I didn't have any assets. I didn't have a house. I didn't have a car. So I wasn't really worried about them coming and sue me because there's nothing they could get. And again, that's why we have insurance. The insurance was one of the first things that I got. So let's say you're at a customer's house and you're parking or you're backing up and you hit their garage or you break one of their windows. The insurance will cover all that. But your insurance is only going to work if your contract is solid.